like you ever felt.
Are you listening? Damn.
And we're back. So the last video we talked about why you would want to self-publish. This week we're going to talk about how. Now, this isn't going to be a technical how-to on me showing you a bunch of screen captures on whatever platform I chose, because my platform might not be the same as your platform. So that would really be irrelevant and probably just create a bunch of copycats or people, not really choosing what's best for them. So instead we're going to focus on the generic how to go about taking from an idea to a finished book that you can hold in your hands. So we're just going to dive into it. Number one. So the first step is to find your inspiration, wherever it may come from. You wake up one morning, you've got a great idea, and you want to write a story. You want to write a book. It doesn't matter where it starts or what your end goal is. Right at this point, you need to find inspiration. Everybody has different points of inspiration. You just have to find yours. Once you've pinpointed your inspiration, let's hop on over to two. This part is going to take time. Everybody's going to write at a different pace. You need to find your pace and whatever you're comfortable with. And this also goes to where you're comfortable with. Some people can write in the middle of a war zone. Some people have to be in their comfort zone. Some people can go to Starbucks and write with all the other writers. Some people can climb a mountain and write on the top of the mountain. Some people write on a laptop, on pen and paper, on a tablet. You can write it on a cell phone. Scribble it down on a notebook. It doesn't matter where you write it. You just have to take the time to do it. Ideas might just come pouring out, and that's fine. Let them pour. Plaster the sheet with just ideas and thoughts and directions that you don't even know where they go. It doesn't matter at this point, because that is what's going to bring us to number 3, which is edit. Edit. Pretty straightforward, right? Use what you picked up in school, use what you've learned over the years. I don't know what your profession is. Maybe you're a language genius. Just do it. Edit the hell out of that thing. Comb through it. Make sure that all your rough ideas are turned into more refined, sharp-edged ideas. Make sure everything comes together in a coherent story that you're comfortable with sharing, which brings us to number 4. 4 is an important one, because this is where you're going to share it. This is one of the most important steps in the entire process, and that's the sharing. Because if you don't want to share your work, then it's probably garbage. If you don't want to share your work, you have certain insecurities still about it, and that means that it's not the best that you believe it can be, and that's a problem. It's not good. It's not good at all. So number 4 is going to be sharing your work. You want to share it with friends, with family. You want to share it with people you know, people that are close to you and people that aren't so close to you, because the people that are close to you might have a biased opinion and might tread lightly on your feelings. You want them to stomp all over your feelings. If it's bad, they should tell you. And sometimes family, they're a little bit more warm, heartfelt. Not mine. It's really important that they're honest with you, whoever it may be. Ask them to take notes. Ask them for their opinion. Sit down for coffee with them. Host a dinner party. Do anything that motivates them to take the time to really comb through it and bring you back some sort of feedback, because you can use that feedback, and you should. You really should use it, because there's not a lot free in life, but people's opinions are given out by the truckload these days. Just thrown at you. Take their opinions. Take them. Number 5. Number 5 is the headache phase. So you might be on your first, your second, your third read by now. 15. It doesn't matter what number you're on, because this is where you're going to sit down and re-edit. You're going to take the notes that people have given you, you're gonna take the editing that you've already done, and you're gonna sit down again and once more read through your story and edit. Hopefully, this will be one of the last times you do this. But it's all a very important process, because you need to make sure that this is the best product that you can do. It's not about doing it fast, it's about doing it right, and it needs to be done properly. You want to have something that people can read and understand and connect with, and something that they're going to want to share with other people, regardless of what your end goal is, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So edit it. Again, 6. Seek professional help. Seek professional help. I know in the last video I said I was challenged. Twice. That's right. Twice. But you might want to seek professional help for this one. It's always an option, because I'm gonna kind of combine 2 parts here. This is going to be a 2-part number 6. You want to seek professional help if it's necessary. This is the part where you're going to want to do your research. You're going to look into all of your options for publishing. And since this is the how to self-publish video, let's talk about that for a bit. So to self-publish, you have a few options. You have the print on demand, and you have the traditional self-publishing where you're going to buy a package and they're going to supply you with the books and you're going to worry about your distribution and all that stuff. I'm not really an expert in that. I don't know that all that well. I did a little bit of research in the beginning and I found out that that simply wasn't for me. It might be for you. If it is, by all means, check out all the services that are available. Google it. Google is your friend. You don't want to believe everything you read on the internet, but a lot of it can help. Some of it can help, whether it is to steer you in the right direction or give you facts, but be careful where you're taking your facts from. Now, the print-on-demand services. This allows you to kind of control everything, which, we talked about in the last video. If you're really into the whole making sure you control your destiny thing, print on demand is for you. So you're going to want to find who you want to work with. I mean, there's many options out there, and I'm not going to name any just so I don't go picking favorites. You want to look into all your options. What's your distribution? Your print cost. Do you have pictures in your book? Black and white, color? This is all going to make a difference. And if you're somebody who's not just doing this as a hobby, if you're more leaning towards wanting to make a profit on this, you should know the business side of it, and that is your print costs. And all these little factors are going to affect it, and all of the companies are going to have a different print cost due to whatever it is that you put into your book. All things to take note of. Also, cover quality. What do you want to do? Are you satisfied with soft covers? Do you want a hardcover book? These are all things to take into account when you're searching, but do your research. Take your time on this. This is going to be almost as important as taking your time creating your masterpiece in the first place, because this is a vehicle that's going to drive you home. Now, more on the professional help. With all of these services, you have an option to get professional help. You have the option to get professional editing. You have the option to get professional copywriting. You have the option to get professionally done cover art. The options are endless. Of course, there's going to be a fee for those too. They're not free. So once again, do your research. Look into all of this. Regardless if you choose professional help or not, there's one thing that I do strongly urge you to do. It is something that I made a mistake on, and it wasted so much time. Order a proof copy of your book. Regardless if you got professional help, regardless if you're an expert in formatting, it doesn't matter what your reality is. Order a proof copy. The reason is because no matter how good it looks on a screen, no matter how good it looks on their online sample, it's not necessarily going to look the same when you get a paper copy in your hands. So definitely, please order a proof copy. You will thank yourself in the long run. Number 7, publish. Feels good, doesn't it? It's a weight off your shoulders. So when you hit that publish button, that's it. It's done. You're happy. Wrong. No. I wish I could tell you that. I wish it was that simple. But it's not. The truth is, once you hit the publish button, you're going to go through this little period, which I learned the hard way, is very difficult. It's the waiting period. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a Coke, a lemonade, a beer, whatever it is you drink, and your book's on its way. Oh, but that's the hard part. You have to sit there and wait now. Do you remember what it's like growing up, waiting for Christmas, waiting for Santa Claus to come? It got harder the closer you got. So even if you order one-day shipping, you're going to sit by the window like a dog looking for the courier. It's going to be the longest day of your life, but it's going to show up. And when it does, you're going to take a moment and just admire the box, because you're so happy to finally have it in your hands. After all this hard work, after the writing, finding the inspiration, the writing, the editing, the sharing, the editing again, going through professional help. So you rip that box open and you check it out. I pray with you that there are no errors. I hope for you that your book is exactly as you wanted it to be. That it's your vision in real life. That you're holding your vision in your hands. Now you can share it with people, you can read it yourself, you can show it to your friends, your family, as a finished copy. They might have read your manuscript, that's one thing, but showing them this finished vision of yours, that's something else. So that's it. Number 7 is the end. You published it, you're happy, you've got your book, and it's finished. Or is it? This brings me to number 8. But let me just add a little disclaimer here. In the last video, I mentioned that you could choose to do this as a hobby. If that's the case, congratulations, you are finished. But if it's not, If your goal is to sell this, if your goal is to make some money off of this, to really put it out there for the masses to read, then lean back and let's take a moment to discuss number 8. Number 8. Number 8 is the hardest part of them all. The reason I say this is the real work is about to begin. It's no longer just about feeling. It's no longer just about creating. Now it's about facts. It's about marketing, advertising, and getting your book out there. Sure, you might be asking yourself, well, I just paid for professional services. That's going to be fine, right? But I set up a Facebook page. I have an Instagram. Twitter. It's not enough. If you really want to sell to the masses, you're not going to be marketing your book strictly through social media. It's going to help. But whether you set up all the social media in the world, a website, a YouTube channel, whatever it is you've done, it's not going to be enough. Because the only truth is that until you get out there and meet somebody, it's pretty hard for them to remember you. This is where your people skills are going to come into play. So there are a lot of methods you can take out there and you can really put into action here. And this is where, yes, you can get creative, but a lot of the old school tactics are still going to work. I myself enjoy business cards. I like to hand out a business card when I meet somebody. Something with my name on it, with my website. People make a stronger connection to that because you handed them something. It's not just a few exchanged words here and there because words are cheap. They might go home, they might throw it out, but they might sit down and check it out. Or they might sit down and remember, he gave me something. And that's what you want. If they remember you, you've already put in the desk time. You've already got your social media looking flawless. Sexy, right? So when they sit down and actually take a look through what you've done, whether you have 1 book, 10 books, 30 series, it doesn't matter because it's there and ready for them. They can glance through it, they can click on buy, they can share, they can do anything they need to do. But this is the hard part because you really have to take the time to set all of this up. Certain professional services are going to help you, as I said, but you need to put in the time here and you need to put in the effort. And what you put in here is going to determine how much you actually make, how successful your book is. So that's an 8-step simplified guide on how to self-publish. If you're looking for a more technical approach, there are thousands of them on YouTube or across the internet. I hope this was more of a guide on just motivating you to do it and kind of pointing you in the right direction. Because sometimes that's all it takes, is to be pointed in the right direction, let loose. But as far as actually diving into the technical side of it, any of the self-publishing options you choose are already going to have a really structured and technical guide. Some of them even offer a simplified versus a professional guide on how to go about self-publishing. So for me to lay it out would be an absolute waste of time. You'll see it there, and they're going to do a much better job than I will at doing it. So thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Check it out next week. I'm going to be bringing you a different kind of video that kind of shows what inspired me and fueled me to put out 5 books in 1 year. And I hope that you guys are going to share some comments and maybe even some links to your own videos where we can feed off of each other, because that's what it is. We're all creating something. So see you next week. Bye-bye.